Hello, welcome to All Gaming. I'm here at the Mantic Games Open Day in Nottingham, and I've got a couple of guys from Mantic here. We've got Luke and Chris, and we're going to be talking about the Kings of War Kickstarter, which has recently been on, which was Monday?
Ends Monday.
Ends Monday, so probably missed it by the time of year, but there is a pledge manager which will be open as well, so anyone who's that can still amend what they do. So, great success so far.
Indeed. We always think, it's a great idea to have an open day at the same time of finishing a Kickstarter.
Great planning, great organising that we've done here.
Yep.
But it's been fun. To be fair, the Kickstarter itself has been completely mind-blowing. From my perspective, this is the first Kickstarter that I've been part of.
Yeah, because you actually only joined the week before.
Yeah, exactly, the week before I joined, and then the Kickstarter kicked off, so it really took in at the deep end. And I've followed Kickstarters before, I've seen things before, and Mantic as a whole for Kickstarters is incredibly successful, isn't it? So to see that we hit our goal within 5 minutes were fantastic, because it just gives us so much scope to open up things for other people, all the stretch goals that we had planned, and it's just been fantastic to be a part of.
I mean, it was pretty crazy when the Kickstarter went live, and then I went to another page check after I got sent I was like, it's already funded, wow.
People were laughing at me because we did a sweepstake, we were like, oh, let's see how fast, what we're going to do, see how long it's going to take us, and I was ridiculous and said something like, oh, a minute. Do you know what, we're 4 minutes off.
Yeah.
People wanted it.
I was running the thing, I said half an hour.
But the community wanted it.
Yeah.
So we were like, we're going to put it out there, and people want this. This is what you want.
Yeah.
So we put it out there, and everybody just went, oh, you're giving us what we want, give it Nicholas.
This is kind of basically what I was kind of wanting to touch on, because with a lot of companies, wargaming companies, they kind of don't listen to what the fans want. And with Kings of War, you've kind of taken on board with the community. So why is it that you think that's an important aspect of?
Because at the end of the day, we're hobbyists and we're wargamers.
And without them, we just wouldn't work. I mean, everything we do is for other people. Yeah, we're hobbyists. As you say, it's for gamers by gamers.
We are gamers. We want to do things at Mantic how we want companies to do things for us.
Yeah.
And if somebody says to us, we want this, that's what we're here for. That's the whole point of Kickstarter, is we create these things because you want them, and if you want them, you'll buy them.
And we were approached by the top players of Kings of War, and we sat them down at SEO, and SEO worked with them, and they're working on the tweaks and all the changes and all that kind of stuff for the book. And the more and more they did, the more and more it looked like second edition, and then we've got people who want to translate it, and then we've got other books that are out of print, and all those things kind of come together, and the community went, oh, you know what, just give us second edition. And so we've done it, and then that leads to the system.
Well, I mean, it gave us a chance to collate the stuff that we already had. So, I mean, we could have done an errata and just thrown out some updated bits, but you've got to think there's the 3 expansion books as well that are pretty rocking horse to get hold of now. So they've been condensed into
3 rocking horse.
Yeah, keeping it PG friendly.
Yeah.
So they're hard to get hold of.
We've got kids who watch this, so it's
a
good.
So they.
I've just never come across that before.
So they come.
Just someone translating for me. Normally I translate.
They're very difficult to get hold of now.
Okay.
Runs really short. So they've been compiled into a compendium, haven't they? So now those books that people, instead of having bits and pieces everywhere and having been
one book.
It's one book.
Yeah.
Kings of War, you've got your big book that's got your rules in it and all your background. But not only that, we're going to give you like an A5 book that just has your rules in it, so you wang it in your bag on your way to your tournament.
Wang it in the bag. It's just more terminology.
Yes.
Everyone from up north that'll be listening to this, they're loving it. They're like, oh, now somebody talks my language.
There we go. So we're appealing to the northern demographic of the UK. So we might have to put some translations up on screen.
Subtitles for the
rest of the world.
Yeah, it's but then, like I say, without doing these things with the community, then the Ubiquitous wouldn't exist. And so they said, we want one book, we want this, we want that, and so that's what we've done. And once we funded the book, everything we've done since has been things that people have asked for. They want new models for their army, they want new armies, they want campaigns.
They want apps, they want a campaign, they want
all
the things that they want is things that we've done right. We've not just come up with some stretch goals and gone, oh, well, this is what you're having. It's been, well, this is all the feedback. I mean, I mainly deal with the community. I'm the community manager for Mantic. I'm speaking to people every day. People tell me what they want. I ask them, what do you want? Tell me what you want. Because at the end of the day, we're a company for you. We're not coming to sell you products, we're coming to make products for you, and you buy them.
We found a way to do it.
Well, this is like with the Kickstarter, I noticed that your pledge levels were very, very open for people to decide what they wanted. They could choose, they had 2 starter armies on the $150 level, or they could choose a Mega Force. It was completely up to them, they could choose add-ons and things like that. So, I mean, you can definitely see that you do have freedom.
We even put the other pledge levels in, didn't we? The ones for $1. And ones for the retailers as well.
Choice is important.
And even the massive one that we've just done as well, people have gone crazy for.
Yeah, those went very quickly. Choice is important. I mean, we can't offer total choice. You can't spec your own army because for our warehouse and our logistics and all that kind of stuff, we have to be sensible and keep that in consideration. On the other hand, we want to be totally mad. So the $1 level, like you say, you can just pick all the add-ons you want. So if you want the foregrounds, fantasy, buildings, or whatever, you can just take those. You want Kickstarter exclusive Blaine on Dinosaur, you can have that too. Then if you want an army or you want a booster or whatever, you can just get your collection in one simple, one-click package. And there you go.
Yeah, I mean, for the value for money for the pledge levels, they're pretty fantastic. If you think about it for people that want to pledge, you know, you get your 2 starter armies. It's great for if you and your friend want to get involved. Go halves on it. You want to set up your own club or something. You want to get people into Kings of War. You've got 2 starter armies. Or if you want yourself a full mega army, be selfish and get something massive for yourself.
Well, it's just on previous articles. I mean, if anyone who's currently collects Kings of War or wants to get into the game, this Kickstarter's been fantastic for getting into, because you can get a huge army for quite a discounted price. I think on £150, something like $60–70
It is.
savings. So I mean, it's a lot of.
Well, when you think about, I don't know about you guys, but when I start a new hobby, I'll start playing a new game, I can never choose what faction I want, and it usually comes down to 2. So having the option to have 2 starter armies is great, because I can get both and decide which one I prefer to play style over time. It's community driven. We think about how we would want it to be done from our perspective. You know, I don't just want to just have to take Abyssal Dwarves. What happens if I don't like how Abyssal Dwarves play? I want to play Orcs. I've got a bit of both to try out, have fun with, find out which I like and expand on. Or, if I know, I'm a die-hard Orc man. I love Orcs, so I can go, I want a mega army, and I want even more Orcs. There's not enough green in my house, I need a tide. You can get that.
I think you just had your first taste of the ogres, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had my first game of Kings of War, and I wiped the field with my ogres, so yeah, did pretty well, so definitely, I think I've got the bug now, so definitely, so Kings of War is probably something we carry on with.
the Ogre Braves?
Yes.
Beautiful. Throw down the gauntlet then. So I'll challenge Talk Wargaming to an Ogre battle to the death. And whoever wins will have to choose a horrendous and embarrassing forfeit to be aired on the internet for the loser.
It has to be PG-13 though,
PG.
so definitely.
We'll keep it you.
Yeah, there we go, that's okay. Well, I accept your challenge.
Do this.
Yeah, it's history in the making.
Yeah, there we go, so I may live to regret that decision.
I may also regret this.
So it might be fun there, so...
I thought it was hilarious.
If you mean might be fun, it's going to be fantastic. There's going to be blood and
The new balance of horrific and fun.
And there might be some wargaming in the middle of it.
Yeah, there might be some wargaming.
Yeah, maybe. So, obviously we're here at the open day. There's crowds of people in there, it's very, very noisy out there. There's loads of people, there's loads of games going on.
Yeah.
Not just Kings of War.
Yeah.
We've also got, I've seen Deadzone out there, and Dreadball, there's a Dreadball tournament as well.
There's Dreadball tournament, you've got Dreadball Extreme, people are getting the first opportunity to see Dungeon Saga.
People are getting to pick up Dreadball Extreme.
Yeah,
so people that backed it came down today and can pick it up now.
Yeah.
So they can take it home with them, which is fantastic. So people, when you've pledged on something, you want to get your mitts on it as soon as possible. So we just said, just come and pick it up from here. We're just, I said again, coming back to it, just a community-driven company. We want people, come and get your game, come and play your game. We want you to go and pick it up as soon as possible.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's
plenty of stuff, plenty of games going on, and we've got the studio as well.
Yeah.
And the studio's got tons of sneak peeks about what's coming up next.
Yeah, I think I saw some. There was some the Deadzone scenery
Yes.
in one of the cabinets. That's quite interesting to see some of the. There was fans and pipes and some walkways as well. So that's, I'll probably just cut some footage so people can see. So it's kind of like, it's like a white clear plastic. Is that 3D printed?
That's the 3D printer. That's the raw 3D printed material. So when it comes off the printer, it comes like that. When we tool it, it goes from the digital file straight to the cutter into the mould. But we often get the prints done to check scales, check size, check fittings, that sort of stuff. It's not exactly right because there's shrinkage and plastic and all loads of other technical stuff. But yeah, that's what 3D print. That's the thing that we often paint into photography. Is what that looks like in the flash.
Because there's also some 3D prints of going back to Kings of War, the new Abyssal.
There are indeed. Again, testing fittings, testing size. You've got the lower abyssals there, all the different weapon options. The succubi are being sculpted at the moment.
So what is next? What's coming up next from the after following the success of your Kings of War Kickstarter? So what's going to be the next steps?
Well, I think the tiles and the vermin and some of the pathfinders that are on the screen outside kind of gives a little bit of a quite a major hint as to what's next. We're going to do Deadzone next. We're going to revisit that. We want to take another look at the rulebook, reorder it. It is not in the best order. It's a little bit difficult to find things, so we just want to refine it and take the opportunity to have a go again. But that's going to come with a new faction for Deadzone, which are bin, and they'll be supported by hard plastic, unit choice, and some other bits in resin plastic. There will be some enforcers, getting a new sprue for infantry, so that will be the Pathfinders. Very cool. And then that Kickstarter will then look at doing other hard plastic for the existing races and some new buildings.
To get as much hard plastic out as we can is quite a big focus, because as a hobbyist, people prefer the material to work with. It's much more beneficial to hobby with. So as much as
we're building for Warpath.
As much support as we can get for the hard plastic stuff, anything that gets pledged just goes towards getting you more things, and hard plastic's a route that we want to be going down as much as we can.
You can also fill your bits box as well with all the extra bits that you get.
Absolutely, it's a crazy box now. Crazy box is pretty crazy. You're getting one today.
Yes, I'll be unboxing those. There's some excellent deals in there. I think it's about.
It's about 75 quid individually for a 25 quid box, and it's just packed full of random stuff. You add your bits box. Oh my god, words! You can put in your bits box, or you can just assemble and just play with. So the sci-fi ones do have some models that you can play with.
Yeah, because the sci-fi box, you used to do a standard box last year, and then you did sci-fi boxes this year. So I mean, it's kind of like a Christmas special. So if you are struggling to think of things to have for Christmas, then it's probably an excellent thing to get. You can get
just any hobbies.
Yeah, anyone. Yeah.
Whether you're starting your Mantic collection, whether you're not interested in a Mantic collection, whether you want to add to your Mantic collection.
Even if you don't want to use it for Mantic things, it's a great little bit of box full of trees that you can use in anything. We're not just saying get this for just Mantic, get it for your hobby. There's cool stuff in it that you can ram into anything.
There's no trees in it.
No trees?
No.
We don't have trees.
Okay, good.
Trees are the first thing to go in warfare. So. The justification there.
Maybe we should stamp that on the side of it. There
are no trees. So that's what we're kickstarting next, which is looking at Deadzone. But in terms of what we're doing with retailers and the community, we're going to be going back to Dreadball. We've got Season 4, Season 5, we've got Extreme. So there's a big push and big drive on Dreadball, really. Getting new players, supporting the community.
There's something that I'm dealing with and a couple of us are dealing with. I don't know if anybody knows about it, so it's probably the first time you're going to hear about it anywhere. We're putting together an organised player pack. So we want to look at supporting the community that we've already got in Dreadball and further backing them with packs we're going to put together that can be used to run tournaments, can be used to run leagues. They're going to be custom scenarios, even with custom minis and custom balls and things that you can only get through these organised play packs that you will play in store with friends set up at a club. So it's really supporting those people that have already got Dreadball and expanding the experience a little bit further than just the box game and the additional seasons that you've got.
So taking the tournament that we've got going on today out into the community.
Well, it's going to be even more in depth than that, to be honest. These are custom scenarios that we've been sat working on, and we've come up with great ideas that will make them play through a matter of maybe a month, maybe 2 months. You'll play over this scenario to get to a certain goal where you will then, if you win the league or such that is set up, you'll receive the limited edition mini that we've created for it, or a ball that we've created for it, or the pictures that we might even be designing.
So it's a tangible prize for the end.
What it is it's an organised play kit that will be purchased, and everything to run the scenario will be played through that box. Then it's for the retailers or the people that purchase the boxes, for the organised play, to distinguish how they want to deal with it from there. But we give you the kit and the tools you need to make this fantastic scenario that we've put together. You run with it how you like.
So we've covered Deadzone, Dreadball and Kings of War, so that just leaves us with...
We've not covered Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks.
I just thought you mean Northern again.
That's pretty much the same, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much the same. Mars Attacks.
It's a running theme podcast with you. It's
laying into the Northern.
Yeah, stuff. Mars Attacks, yes, we have a big stompy robot, I think we out in the first half.
We've got them out today. We've got a participation game going off today. We've got these basically robots, trucks. It's a trailer park, and we are you rescue civilians, and the robots are trying to kill the civilians. Trucks are trying to rescue the civilians and get them back to the campsite. The robots are unbelievable.
It's such a big, incredible model.
They're huge, yeah. I mean,
and from a hobby point, they go together and they paint beautifully. Like they're pleasurable models.
So if you put them in weird poses like you've done.
No, I did the act pose. Come on.
Yeah.
I made it.
It's still a bit weird.
Well, just because it's not stood robotic, make it boring. Give it some personality. Give it some feels, man.
It looked like it set a kitten on fire and it was just running away. Oh no, what have I done?
You know, I might have put it in one pose and the glue may have slowly set in that pose, but I went for a nice pose on them.
It's a malfunction robot.
Hobby task.
Exactly,
It's been hit. Malfunction
Right,
robot.
covered.
There you go.
Yeah.
You've just made your forfeit slightly better now by
Defending it.
yeah.
The other big thing for Mars Attacks next year is going to be the points battle book. So it kind of takes it from beyond the board game into more war game territory. So
sorry to cut you off,
No,
but
it's fine.
the cards for Deadzone,
Yes.
the Martian and the human cards that you can use in Deadzone, so cool. Because that's what we're trying to interlink everything together. So to be able to go, this is your Mars Attacks box that you've got, not only can you play Mars Attacks with it, you throw it into Deadzone, play some games of Deadzone.
you can go up.
Yeah, I mean, you've
3D
got a
aspect.
game going in the back there. I can see that you've got some of the Marines and Martians battling it over some Deadzone terrain.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really works quite well. I mean, considering the two separate games,
Yeah.
putting them together just works perfectly. So I mean, it's always nice to see that there are some. You can pick up your Deadzone collection, you can pick up your Mars Attacks collection. But when you use together, you can do. So I mean, that freedom is excellent.
I don't know if you've seen, but in the shop, we've got some of the Mars Attacks stuff that's been converted to 40k, Warhammer 40k.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tim's brought in his Mars Attacks
Oh
stuff.
yeah, is Elder on.
And it uses it as an Eldar army.
Well, there you go. I have to get some shots of that.
Right, so
So,
you
any
know,
40K
I guess
players-
nobody's saying that it has to be done for that. What's saying is these models are awesome.
Favourite thing about that, giant stompy robot with shrink ray, epic Space Marines.
I've already got a
Yeah,
shot of that,
that's
so
the
I'll
Yeah,
cut to
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty cool. So it's a Blood Angel or something.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very, very
A
cool.
few little epic
I mean,
Space Marines at
yeah,
the
The
bottom.
Mars Attacks game in general is just such a it's the ultimate get it out of the box and play a game. Like it's great for people to just pick up, grab out of the box and start playing.
And the World at War book, the Points Battle book, will take that further because the more you collect, you can start putting that into an army. You still use the same mechanics, you can go multi-mat, whatever, but then you can start building armies, with 3, 4, 5 robots, whatever. You don't have to go stick to the scenarios that we're giving you anymore. You can, everything has a points cost. You can build it just like a War Games army.
So will that be moving away from the kind of grid system?
I think it still uses the grid system, but it allows you to customise your force.
Similar to kind of like a Deadzone kind of thing.
Yeah.
with Mars.
Yeah. Whereas Mars Attacks initially is very scenario driven. You go through the story, you go through the expansions, you go through the stories. At no point do you get to decide actually, unless you just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, we can do whatever you want in Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
I think the World is just kind of like let's just
You
kill
swap
stuff.
units out, and if
Gives
it's
you that
balanced,
structure for the
yeah.
game,
And it's
The
just,
points costs allow it to be balanced, just allow you to make, if you want General Tor leading a force of saucers and robots and, giant units.
it's a lot more open,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a lot more. Here's some Martians, here's some humans. Kill each other. Do what you want.
I think it's going to be a big important book for that series.
So I think you've got your Humanity Resist set, which is coming out
Flying Saucer.
imminently. Flying Saucer, and there's also the
Stealth Martians. You've got the Martian
Martian
Marines.
Mhm.
You've got the Nova Zion Militia, which has got the awesome model of the guy with the beard with the actual radar dish. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Guy who looks a bit like the Terminator with his shotgun.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. What else
Truck.
is chucked in there? The trucks in there.
Truck makes two different
You
things.
get so much in that box. It's
Bunch of
so
scenarios.
many things in
Yeah.
that box.
Various.
And they can all be bought separately if you just want to add them to your forces, but the actual box game has everything in there if you're ready to go.
So I mean, this goes back to the Kickstarter. I mean, Mars Attacks was funded through Kickstarter.
Yep.
And your Mars Attacks core game came out a few months ago.
Yeah, September. It's the biggest game launch we've had yet.
biggest.
So we've already got an expansion, and there's another expansion coming out. I mean, that's kind of, I assume that's probably on the back of Kickstarter. If you need to do a Kickstarter,
If
then
we
that
hadn't done Kickstarter, I don't think we'd ever have done the core game.
Mhm.
It allows us to support the games because you set a goal, it gets blown away, and then we go, well, look at this, what we've now got to support this game with. And we have everything that we need to say the expansions come out, and usually when a game gets released, there'll be an expansion within a few months. Then after there, you let it settle down a little bit, let it simmer down, and then we look at supporting it further.
Yeah, we have a rough idea of what we want to do. We know what the iconic things are, and we know what we have to sort of fill in around it to make it into the game we want it to be. Mars Attacks was a more tricky Kickstarter to run than perhaps any of the others before, but the range it did give us is just superb. We're very happy with it. And like I say, the box game itself, the core game, was our best-selling game of that we've done yet at launch. It sold
I think
more
the
than
great thing
triple,
about
3,
the
4, 5 times
expansions-
Kickstarter.
yeah,
Something
massively.
ridiculous.
I mean, the great thing to see about the expansions is to show that we do have a lot of games coming out, but we don't want people to think that we're not supporting these games. We don't just want to say, here's a game, to one side. Here's another game, push it to one side. You know, we're supporting all of these things. We are a young baby company that's brought out a load of exciting products, and now we've got loads of stuff that we can support, and the Kickstarter.
You sometimes say that in meetings, don't you? You sometimes say, they've released so many games, so support it. It's like, well,
we've got to remember how young we are. We brought out all these starting blocks for us to then go forward with.
6 seasons of Dreadball, 24 teams, 3 more expansions from Mars Attacks, a second box game from Dreadball.
I mean, even talking about the fabled Dungeon Saga and what we've talked about.
Yeah,
we've got that coming out next year. We've planned something. I hope it goes through really special. And it's going to sound stupid, but for the packaging, that's going to make the game, for me, so much cooler. I think people will agree as well.
Have you seen a version of it?
No, I've not seen the version.
I've never seen a
picture. Seen the version?
Yeah.
Does it look pretty?
It's actually got a Disney princess on the cover at the moment because it's.
Are we allowed to discuss what might be happening?
No, but it's got Disney princess on it.
Well, yeah.
You're very cryptic there, so.
We looked at. Are we talking about expansions and
you can have the exclusive one.
There you go.
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
But it's exciting.
Yeah. So Disney Princess packaging.
Disney Princess packaging.
Right, excellent.
Maybe even some Frozen.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's been
Whoa.
Imagine the
Imagine
amount of children that buy it. Oh, look, Frozen now.
Yeah.
Dwarf.
Yeah.
This is not a princess. This is a bearded lout. The silence as everyone looks at me.
Yeah. Moving swiftly on, Dungeon Saga's Ace, and that'll be out next year. We're working very hard at the moment. Jake's
That's an incredible support from Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Well.
I think just some of the green sculpts, there's some other cabinets in there, so they've always.
Well, we've got a playtest day going on today in a secret room off to one side, and people are playing Dungeon Saga with the alpha rules with Jake, and getting a first-hand look at it. I mean, I played it myself. Have you played it?
Yeah, I played it.
I'm genuinely excited about it. Like, it's one of those things when I came in, not been here long, saw Dungeon Saga at the table, I was just like, right, this pretty much is what I want. This is the type of game I love to play. It's got a very simple layer to get started on, and then you can expand it out into the Adventurer's Journal and make it massive, and it's just so much cool. So the models that have been sculpted for it, and it's just beautiful. You can tell from the amount of backing we got from it, it's going to be a fantastic
Incredible.
game. And from playing it, the actual play of the game reflects that just as much. It's just so much fun to play. I mean, I made a ridiculous move, playing a dwarf, went steaming in head first.
That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, exactly. The dwarf's designed to be a tank to protect the squishy casters, and that's something that's put in there. It's not just everything is an individual character. It's like you need to play the dwarf to protect the wizard, or the wizard's just going to get hammered by skeletons and get killed.
My favourite game I've seen so far is when the elf saved the dwarf.
No, that don't happen.
That happened.
No.
But Ronnie was not happy.
Did
The elf saved the dwarf.
Did the elf throw the dwarf?
No, the elf did not.
Okay.
Shot. I think it's shot.
I think my favourite game is any game that Luke plays the wizard, because he loves the wizard so much.
Luke did love. Yeah, Taylor did love the wizard.
Oh,
The elf saved the dwarf and then promptly went off and got killed, but and then lost everyone again.
For an elf to do, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Taylor does love that.
Yeah, that's coming out next year.
So just backtracking a sec, for people who are not aware of what Dungeon Saga is, it is a kind of the new
It's a fancy dungeon crawler. Yeah.
So I mean, kind of going back to old school kind of.
Going back to the days of crawler that you played when you were younger.
Yeah, like a Hero Quest and all those kind of
stuff like the Dungeon Dragon Ravenloft sort of stuff, and it's that tile-based movement where you'll then open up another room and you move through, and the one player will play the Necromancer, and he'll sit there against you guys, so he'll have a sizable force to play with, be able to raise skeletons, zombies. There's fantasy scenery in there, like doorways and stuff that we've actually had made in plastic that are just so pretty.
There's the AI rules as well. You're playing around. You got the AI rules.
Yeah, there's the AI stuff as well. So you can practice when your friends aren't there, and then show off on all your friends turn up.
So this is something else that you've kind of full of crossovers this into years. Your Dungeon Saga has actually got some miniatures for the Abyssal Forces.
It does, yeah.
Which can be used in Kings of War 2nd Edition.
With the odd exception, with the odd exception like Mars Attacks, everything we do, all of our games go in our 2 universes. One, Kings of War, Warpath. So Deadzone is in the Warpath universe. Dreadball is in the Warpath universe. It's all there to just grow that IP and grow that world and expand it. Deadzone features models like you use in Warpath and vice versa. Dungeon Saga does the same thing with Kings of War. It is set to a very specific part of the Kings of War map and tells a story around that, which has knock-on effects in Kings of War. You can see that in the Kickstarter of the campaign work that follows on the story from the Dungeon Saga box game. Because the heroes are there trying to stop Mortibris, but the rest of the world doesn't just stand by. Aslayans, the elves, dwarves, they're all raising their armies to go to Diffith and fight back in case Mortibris actually succeeds and the heroes fail. Similarly, if Mortibris does succeed, he's going to raise a massive undead army and a massive, Forces of the Abyss list. And that's then followed through into the Kings of War Kickstarter, where we've now produced the Abyssal list. We've produced new stuff for the undead. Bale, Valandor, they all feature in that.
So the timeline's progressing.
Yeah, and it makes it more of a living world. What we love about Dreadball is it allows you to tell little stories in the Warpath universe. What we love about Deadzone is it's the same thing, a very specific part of the universe. You've got Nexus Psi and all that stuff that happens with the Contagion and Plague and what have you. You start telling stories in different parts of the galaxy and it becomes more and more real, more engaging. Because we're starting from scratch, we're starting from nothing. We're developing the ideas.
It doesn't just build itself, does it? And so that's why
we're building
it's a big thing for us, with the community being involved, with all of us who are all excited war gamers that get excited about things like Big Kids. We're expanding the universe to make it not just this is Kings of War and this is these two armies are fighting. Right. Tell us more. A bit more about it.
Well, it's because Mortibris has raised the Bale, the Demon Lord from beyond the grave, and he's raised this massive a new abyss is approaching.
A big thing to playing it is the lore in the background. It's a massive part of it, and we wanted to interlink everything, make it exciting, make it interesting, make people think, linking Kings of War to Dungeon Saga, and being able to create your own scenario using some background from Kings of War.
Yeah.
So you go, I'm going to write my own scenario for Dungeon Saga, and I'm going to use this bit of lore and background I read in Kings of War 2 book, and I'm going to make that into a scenario being played through the dungeon.
The first thing that I'm thinking of is that you could actually have some sort of campaign game where it starts with a Dungeon Saga and moves on. The results of that can affect a Kings of War game. So it's all crossovers, things like that. So that sounds like.
And that's something that's down for the community to do. Mm-hmm. Like if people want to do that, or they want us to do it, yeah, we'll do it. If you guys want to do it, create those. We're giving you the ammunition to go and make your own games. Because I love to make my own scenarios. I love to make my own sort of games, and it's great to be able to say, here's some ammo, here's some lore, here's some background, here's some little story you've put together. Make it playing Dungeon Saga, make it playing. Imagine getting all the heroes from Dungeon Saga into an army and having some sort of fight to the death of Mortibris in some sort of final battle. You can create more than just a game. You're creating something more exciting in a world it's almost a magical world that you get excited about playing. It's not just some minis on a table smashing into each other. It's this Dungeon Saga, that we've put together this scenario, we've played through, we've developed as characters, and we've now crossed them over into this massive world of Kings of War, and we're having this epic battle, and it gets exciting. It does get. It's great if you can tell it's something I'm massively passionate about.
What he said.
Yeah, so
that's exactly what I was
the biggest thing that I've kind of taken from what you said there is basically with Mantic, your kind of mantra is freedom, choice, and fun.
Yeah.
Two simple kind of and
doing it affordably.
Exactly, yeah. Some of the kind of kits that I've seen in the shop that you've got here, and you can start a huge army for what is essentially a pittance when it comes to when you kind of look at it relatively. Yeah. So it's definitely something. But one thing that I'm kind of thinking about now is you said that Mars Attacks is a crossover to Deadzone. Why not Kings of War? Can't we just stick cut a few Martians off onto it?
Maybe.
The great thing about here.
I'd be lying to say if Adam from Tops didn't come over and say, I've got a good idea.
Well, that's a challenge for anyone at home. If you've got the Mars Attacks, cut those off and fight them.
Send them all through on Facebook to me. If anyone's got any ideas about any cool stuff, just lob it through on Facebook to me. I love it. Because the more I keep hearing the same thing over and over again and seeing these great ideas, I can be like, well, hold on. People want this. And this is these ideas that these people have had. Let's do it. A lot of stuff here. I walked into Stuart. I'm excited about maybe some sort of fantasy skirmish style game. Stuart, I'm excited about a fantasy skirmish game. Do you mind if I have a crack at putting something together? Yeah, no worries. It's input from everybody. So put some input in. Community, the staff, your friends and your local war game to create these worlds.
I think that's kind of the advantage that you've got here. You're quite a close-knit group of people, and you can quite easily talk to all different departments, all you're all war gamers, you're all into that thing, and it does kind of like cross-pollination of ideas through the departments, which maybe other companies that we're not going to probably mention, but might not be. It's the same with the community aspect of things. I mean, some places just completely block off. I mean, there's no Facebook or there's no community interaction, but you guys are on the forefront of everything. You've got your Kickstarters going, you've got your Facebook things, you've got events like this where people get hands-on, come direct down to the departments. I mean, it's all fantastic things that people kind of people look for, really, and people appreciate. So, on behalf of the fans, thank you.
On behalf of the company, you're welcome.
I mean, if we made these games for just ourselves, we wouldn't be a company, would we? We'd be a group of 4 lads sat in a pub with some game that we've made up to have a laugh with. We make them for everybody to play. So everybody's input is the most important thing in those games. You know, if we think a rule is great, and 10,000 people think that a rule is terrible, that rule's terrible. Because that's what the community and the people that play our game say.
What about the retailers as well? And we want to give something to them that they can get people in and sell and that kind of stuff.
Having everything affordable makes it fantastic for retailers. You know, it's not as difficult to, you know, for a Christmas present, a kid wants an army. Oh, I fancy army for Christmas. You know, when you see a parent sees a reasonable price tag, that is within the regions of, say, a computer game. It then becomes, well, that's not actually obscenely expensive. You know, and that's quite good. We can buy that for him. We can buy a little Timmy, can have a great time with this, and it's affordable. And because people buying it from that aspect through retailers, they don't have the same excitement as the kid who wants it. So they just see, oh, well, that's actually quite good. It's not an obscene thing. We'll buy him that. And next thing you know, he's got 1,000 books all over his bedroom. And
it sounds like you're talking about something quite close to your heart.
Very cool.
So I mean, obviously going back to Christmas presents, one of the excellent things that you kind of offer is you have quite a lot of starter sets. And those starter sets give everything, and it's quite like going back to an affordable price. I mean, the Deadzone set comes with 2 factions. You've got the Plague and the Enforcers, and you get some of your the Deadzone scenery in there, gaming mat and the rules and all the little bits that you need to go. So you can pretty much open at Christmas Day, glue a few figures together and get going straight away. Mars Attack's even more so.
Jungle Extreme as well. Mars Attack Jungle Extreme, they're the first 2 games which we've done are pre-assembled. You literally can just take it and put it down with the scenery or just put together. It's super simple. I taught my girlfriend's she's not a war gamer. I taught her in 3-4 days.
You can't make your girlfriend now.
Sorry?
You can't make your girlfriend.
Damn. My cat is really good at Mars Attacks. Because I taught a cat in 4 days.
That's pretty impressive.
I thought it was good, and the cat even managed with the paws, managed to get everything together. So if a cat can do it.
Yeah, you don't even need opposable thumbs to build Mars Attacks.
You've got to tag
that on the box.
We've got a whole new demographic now of people with no thumbs.
Yeah. Of people with no thumbs.
Or cats.
Or cats.
Well, no cats have thumbs.
Or the thumb cats.
Moving swiftly. God, moving swiftly.
So yeah.
You know, it's one of those things I think.
So simple, even cats can play.
Yeah.
Well, me and you were discussing earlier. You're a hobbyist. I'm a gamer. It's great to have that box and to open it up. Dreadball Extreme, a 1-piece mini, grey plastic mini, sat there looking at you. If you want to hobby and paint it, you can do that. If I want to play straight away, I can do that. It's not, oh, you have to assemble it and paint it before you can do anything with it. It's ready to just get out of the box on Christmas Day and force my dad to play with me. You know, it's something that you can just get out of the box and play and get excited about. And then if you want to start doing the other things, you can do them.
So Mars Attack's always kind of struck me as being kind of the middle ground between a war game and a board game. You can just get everything like that.
That's exactly what we aim for.
Yeah.
And what we try to try really strongly not to do is miss both of them.
Yeah.
You know, your board gamers, you've got war gamers, and then if you go to something straight through the middle and then just miss, that would be rubbish.
Exactly.
So we've tried to just close the gap a little bit and just.
Now, have you seen some of the minis that have been painted up by people online? People have done painting tutorials on the Mars Attacks minis.
Which we have actually done so.
They're gorgeous. Like, they're really nice models to paint as well. They're lovely.
I think that's, one of the things I'd like to comment on is really that even though they are kind of single piece miniatures like Mars Attacks Glints and things like that, the sculpts and the variation of poses is excellent. You can have like a group of miniatures there and you don't feel like you've just got the same person just over and over again. So that kind of appeals to the...
There's 10 unique poses in that box, and the great thing about that plastic that we've used is that with a little hot water, just twist the arms and you can create your own. But yeah, there's a lot of character and uniqueness about using different figures.
I think, which is probably embodied most about Mars Attacks, is that you do have kind of like a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek kind of approach to some of your games. I think I've seen there was there a Mars Attacks Judge Dredd.
Yes.
Yes, so
Judge Dredd.
and there's been a few like Burning
I mean,
Cows.
you look at the Nova Spire and Militia, and you look at like just the poses and the weapons they've got, and they're just ridiculous. They're outrageous. It's meant to be fun. It's games.
I think when you get to the round where you take yourself too seriously, it spoils the fun a bit.
But then some games are meant to be serious.
Deadzone is a more serious hard game.
Yeah.
Deadzone is a more serious, hardcore war game.
Yeah.
It does have that more kind of slightly horror aspect to it, like, whereas Mars Attacks absolutely is just fun. It's just meant to be.
It's meant. That's how it's
down from the cards to the figures to the bright reds and yellows you use on the colour, everything about it is like you say, it's tongue in cheek, it's colourful, and that's what was at the core of Mars Attacks. When we got the brief through from Adam and Tarps, it was okay. It's dark humour, it's kind of fun. It's not kind of fun. It's lots of fun. We want big death rays coming down from the skies and flaming cows.
It's very B movie.
Yeah. Well, that's what Mars Attacks was always meant to be.
It was
written as a comic. So.
I mean, one of the things that kind of when I was playing Mars Attacks games, I was only aware of the Tim Burton film, and then I did a bit of research and I realised, this is like an old Collector's Card series.
Yeah.
And I was looking through those old cards, and I kind of said those have been really faithfully reproduced into the cards that you see in the artwork that you see in the Mars Attacks box. I mean, anyone who's just a fan of Mars Attacks can get in there and think, it's just like a board game for Mars Attacks. So it doesn't alienate a group of people who maybe aren't serious board gamers, but can actually get back into it.
Yeah.
But as we said at the same time, you can still take that serious aspect of it, even moving over, into your hobby and taking it into other games. So it's more than just our box of Mars Attacks. There's so much you can do with them.
Yeah, I think the thing that strikes me immediately about tongue in cheek in other games is rock riders and having dwarves riding badgers.
Yeah, exactly. Dwarves riding badgers is fantastic.
It's very kind of, you can't get much more British than that, can you?
No.
Badgers.
You've got to be Yorkshireman there. Drinking a cup of tea on back of a badger.
Yeah, I'm sure for any
That's about as English as you can get.
So,
can't say I've ever done that,
no.
but whatever.
I can't remember a lot of nights out. Possibly I could have.
Yeah. So I think that's probably a good place to round this kind of.
You think?
Topsy-turvy. I mean, if you've been able to follow this kind of conversation, well done. And we've covered quite a few aspects of the game, so I'll be carrying on the
Q&A.
Yeah. So thanks for watching the interview. I'll be around here for the rest of the day.
Yeah, we'll get you some more games. By the time you've left, you'll want Extreme,
Yeah.
Dungeon Saga,
Yeah.
or you want King's
I'll
War.
probably have to get on my bank and take out an overdraft.
You'll need a bigger badger to ride home.
Yes.
If you know that much.
Yes. So maybe get a hold off them.
Yeah, we can do that for you, no problem.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Nice one.